I'm excited because leaders really do have the power, and people really do have the power to create that championship type environment. Leaders need to read this book, and it doesn't matter. It is focused on businesses, absolutely, because that's where my heart and passion is. But I also have a passion for sports. I have a passion for nonprofits. I have a passion for church leaders. I have a passion for political leaders. So all of them can read the book and get something out of them. They do have to know that it is going to be focused on businesses in particular, but the principles are easily transferable to any type of organization, any type of culture that you build. The new book's called Creating Culture: The 5 Steps to a Fulfilled and Prosperous Organization. And it starts when I was in business a long time ago. I would go to work every day, sick to my stomach, knowing that I'd have to go and be in that environment all day. It was a toxic culture, so people were miserable. I used to tell people, I'd go, it's like going to a funeral home every single day. Like, people were just dead people walking. And I thought to myself, because I'd been on some championship teams, I'd been on a national championship team, I'd been on some really great teams sports-wise in my life. I used to think there has to be a way to create that environment in an organization. So I began to do research, and my focus in my master's program of organizational leadership was in culture. And so I began to find that there were ways to do it. There wasn't a lot of practical application to it. So I read a lot of theories and concepts. And so when I started my business, when I started my speaking and consulting practice, I started to implement some of the things that I learned to help businesses reestablish their culture. And it worked. And so I tried more and more things, and I came up with these 5 steps about creating a dynamic organizational culture. And the thing is the steps are so simple. When people read this book, they're going to go, oh my gosh, this is like, duh, right? This is easy stuff. And I wanted it to be that way. I think that hard writing makes for easy reading, and easy writing makes for hard reading. And so I tried to make it very simple so that people can take these steps and they can implement them into their business. Because I can't go into every business and help them remodel their culture. So I focus a lot on leadership, because I believe that everything starts and ends with leadership. And I think that if there's great leadership in an organization, you got the start of a great culture. But then there's some very tangible, easy to follow steps that a leader must take to get a culture to a healthy and prosperous place. And I put that all in the book. It's very simple, easy to read, but it's going to kind of read like a workbook where they can take steps and they can implement them immediately. And I wanted it to be that way, kind of like a virtual coach, where you have somebody right there helping to coach you through these steps. And that way, it's going to have a lot more impact, because again, I can't go into every company and help. The leaders are really big into helping create the culture, but after the culture is created, each person is responsible for keeping that environment. So there's ownership that is involved with that, where a person goes to work and not only are they excited to be there, but they know there's a sense of responsibility they have for helping to keep that environment going, because they're a part of creating the culture. So I'm excited that we can help change the epidemic of bad cultures and communist dictatorships in businesses, which is very prevalent, that most leaders lead like communist dictators. And so most companies are run like communist regimes. And it's sickening, and I hate it. And I'm hoping that this helps to alleviate some of that. The biggest thing I want to tell you is this book is experiential. So it was experiential for me, but it also, the book wasn't just thrown together on concepts and theories. This was things that I have experienced and companies have experienced. So people can read this book and go, this has got some credibility. This has got street cred, because it's been put into practice. And this guy isn't up here just BSing me, telling me a bunch of theories he read in a book. This is a guy who's put in 5 years of work doing this stuff and practicing what he's preaching. And so I like to let everybody know ahead of time, I don't think the author's so great. In fact, some people may not like my writing style and things like that, and that's fine. But they do have to know that what I talk about in the book, it does actually work. And that is something that people need to know before picking it up and reading it.